She said, "I think we should just be friends. My ex needs me right now." For a moment, I honestly thought I heard her wrong. We were standing in the dim back lot behind her building, the same place I'd planned to hand her the small box with the car key I'd saved for months of freelance work, skipped meals, shooting weddings I didn't want to shoot. Instead, I slipped the box back into my jacket, looked her in the eye, and said quietly, "If that's what you need, then I hope it makes you happy." No begging, no arguments, no breakdown. Just a strange, bitter clarity settling in like the first cold wind before winter. She exhaled like she'd just set down a heavy suitcase, completely unaware she let go of the last bit of faith I had in her. I turned, unlocked my car, and drove away. And the strangest thing, it felt peaceful, like accepting something you'd been avoiding for far too long. At the time, I thought that was the end of the story. I was wrong.
Before all of this, Nora and I spent 3 years together. I'm a freelance videographer, half my life spent chasing golden hour light, editing late at night, living off caffeine and road miles. She was a dental tech, steady, neat, always on schedule. We worked because we balanced each other, or so I believed. She liked my calm, I liked her structure. But comfort becomes invisible when something louder enters the room. Louder arrived in the form of her ex, Nathan. He popped back into her life like a bad sequel. Glossy suit, new watch, fancy talk about networking with investors. Suddenly, he was texting her, telling her he'd changed, that he missed her, that he was finally ready to commit. At first, she told me it was nothing. Just catching up, she said. But people don't speak about nothing in that careful, overly neutral tone she started using. Soon came the late shifts, the quick meetups, the "he just needs advice." Every time she drifted a little farther, I watched in silence. Not because I didn't care, but because I wanted to see whether the truth she claimed to value so much would hold under pressure. It didn't. One night at a cafe, her phone vibrated. "Dinner tonight. Need to talk." She flipped the screen down so fast it was almost comical. I kept sipping my coffee, but inside something settled, heavy and disappointingly expected. I already knew where the story was headed. Still, I held onto the car key tucked in my pocket, the gift I thought might make her life easier. Not because she needed it, but because I wanted her to feel secure. Turns out she wanted a different version of secure. The next evening she called me over. Her voice was soft, rehearsed. She didn't cry, she didn't look torn, she just spoke that line. "We should just be friends. My ex needs me more." And that was that. I didn't slam a door or question her loyalty. I simply said, "All right," then walked away, feeling something close to relief. Heartbreak isn't always explosions. Sometimes it's silence. For weeks, I waited for the grief to crash in, but it never did. I didn't spiral, didn't stalk her socials, didn't get drunk and send embarrassing messages. I worked. I edited. I slept better than I expected. I took more gigs, documentaries, travel shoots, portraits of strangers who didn't know my story and didn't need to. My work sharpened. A small gallery in Seattle hosted a showing called Quiet Earth, using my landscape shots. To my surprise, it sold out in a weekend. Funny, I thought. I could capture serenity long before I learned to live it. Mutual friends occasionally tried to update me on Nora, as if expecting me to flinch. "She seems happy," they'd say. "She's with that businessman now, Nathan." I'd nod, smile, and simply answer, "Things that shine the brightest are usually the quickest to burn out." Time proved that right. Rumors circulated. Nathan's businesses were nothing more than piles of unpaid loans and fake partnerships. He owed money to almost everyone he knew. Within months, Nora was draining her savings trying to cover his messes. Eventually, she lost her apartment, then her job. People noticed bruises she brushed off as clumsiness. I didn't feel schadenfreude, just inevitability. Life kept moving. During the travel assignment in Northern Washington, I met Claire, the project's editor. Sharp, sarcastic, brutally straightforward.
She took one look at my scratched up Sony and said, "This camera looks like it's fought in 2 wars." I laughed harder than I had in a long time. We worked together often. Late night script planning, early morning hikes to catch sunrise footage. Nothing dramatic, nothing rushed. Just two people showing up consistently, without pretense. Somewhere in those hours, something gentle and steady grew. One quiet afternoon, my phone buzzed with a number I hadn't seen in half a year. I messed up. Nathan is gone. He lied. I'm alone. You still care, right? Please, talk to me. You still love me. I stared at the screen, feeling absolutely nothing. Not anger, not nostalgia, just exhaustion. I typed back, "I cared for who you were. That person isn't here anymore." Then I blocked the number. No second thoughts. Sometimes closure isn't a conversation. It's a realization.
3 months later, on an ordinary Tuesday night, everything blew open again. Claire had fallen asleep on my couch, with a book half open on her chest. I was cutting footage in my office when a violent banging shook the front door. Not knocking, pounding. I assumed the neighbor in trouble, but then came the voice. "Liam, open the door! Don't hide from me!" I froze. Nora. When I cracked the door open, the scene was surreal. She stood in the rain, soaked, mascara dripping, hair tangled. Behind her were two people filming with their phones, whispering, "Keep recording! Get his reaction!" Nora jabbed a shaking finger at me. "You abandoned me! You ruined everything! You're the reason my life fell apart!" Her voice cracked into something feral. I didn't shout back. I didn't even step forward. I simply asked, "Nora, what are you doing?" She staggered closer. "You think you're better than me? Posting your happy life videos? You left me to drown!" It hit me then. This wasn't heartbreak. This was desperation, weaponized. Claire appeared behind me, calm as ever. "I'm calling the police," she said. Nora laughed, unhinged. "Go ahead! Let everyone see what he's really like!" Her friends egged her on, phones held high. It was a setup. Make me look aggressive, make herself the victim. I knew the game instantly. Police arrived within minutes. I showed them footage from my porch camera. Her trespassing, screaming, trying to force her way in. Nora's defiance melted into frantic denial, but even her entourage lowered their phones, suddenly unsure. "Ma'am, you need to leave. If you return, you'll be arrested." She looked at me like a cornered animal. "You'll regret this, Liam! You'll regret not saving me!" They led her away, her voice fading into the rain. When the patrol car disappeared, I closed the door slowly. The silence inside felt heavier than the storm outside. Claire slipped her hand into mine. "Are you okay?" I nodded. "Yeah. For the first time, yeah." Life settled after that. We left the city months later and moved to a small, foggy town on the Oregon coast. I opened the modest studio. White walls, soft natural light, the smell of salt water in the air. It wasn't glamorous, but it felt real. Claire wrote travel pieces, sometimes beside me while I developed film. We didn't dissect the past. Peace doesn't demand explanations. One chilly spring morning, while cleaning my desk, I found a metal object wedged in the back of a drawer. The old car key. The one meant for someone who didn't know what to do with loyalty. Claire walked in with 2 mugs. "Finding treasure?" she teased. "In a way," I said. "A reminder of who I used to be." She studied me for a moment, then whispered, "Give your future something better than what your past wasted." And I knew she wasn't talking about the key. That evening, we drove along the coast, windows down, cold wind biting at our cheeks, the ocean roaring under us. Claire asked softly, "Do you ever miss her?" I shook my head.
I missed the version of myself that thought love meant holding on no matter what. I don't miss her. She laced her fingers through mine. The road curved, the sea glittered, and for the first time in years, the future felt like something I wanted, not something I feared. Somewhere behind us, Nora vanished into whatever storm she'd built for herself. I didn't hate her. I didn't pity her. I simply let her go. Because healing isn't forgetting or revenge. It's choosing peace and refusing to return to the chaos you finally escaped.